Hello, and welcome to episode 23 of the Mindful Knitter podcast. My name is Claire, and I am your host. If you are returning, welcome back. I'm so happy that you come back as often as you do to join me and hang out and talk about pretty yarn and fun projects that are going on. And if you are new, welcome. I'm so glad that you found me and my channel. A little bit about me. I'm coming to you from the southeast of the United States, where I live with my husband and our now 3 Great Danes, Murphy, Nolly, and Obi. Obi is new. If you haven't seen the welcoming our new baby video, that features Obi. He is our new Great Dane. He just turned 12 weeks old. No, he is now officially 13 weeks old today. Oh no, he's growing up so fast. So yeah, he is a delight. He is not real sure how to go to the bathroom outside yet, but we're working on that. So you might hear dog noises in the background. If you hear something howling, he's not being tortured, he's just in his crate while he's not supervised, and he doesn't always like to be in his crate. Most of the time he just sleeps or hangs out or plays with his toys in there, but sometimes he protests. So sorry ahead of time if you hear that. You shouldn't. He's on a totally different floor of the house, but if you hear very faintly in the background, that's what's happening. No Great Danes were harmed in the making of this podcast episode. But yes, so that's where I'm from, where I'm coming to you from. And about the channel a little bit, we mostly talk about pretty yarn and knitting projects that I have going, that I've recently finished. But we are also talking about things like make-alongs. And today, I do have to share with you finished objects, works in progress, a couple acquisitions, and some knit chat is going to include the magical make-along that we have going on right now. If you have not joined us yet, you can. It's over on October 31st, so you can totally join in at any time. Knit night, we're going to talk about knit night on Zoom. A little bit of tour de fleece, some conversations I had in the past couple weeks about knitting, a funny story about knitting. At least I think it's a funny story. And then I'm thinking about adding in like a section at the end of books that I've been reading that were good or that I didn't like. I guess just books that I've been reading lately, because I really like it when other podcasters share what they're reading and watching. So I figured I would just jump on that train and share what I've been reading as well. So yeah, that's kind of what the episode today looks like. We'll throw in a couple other things here and there, but that is what to expect. I also have some questions for you guys at the end about the mindfulness portion, because I used to do mindfulness portion, like there was a mindfulness segment in each podcast episode when I first started the channel, and I stopped doing that more for time so that the episodes weren't so long. But I kind of want to ask you guys about that because I was thinking a bit about my purpose for this channel with incorporating mindfulness and crafting and creativity, which is actually part of some of the knit chat for later. But yeah, anyway, I'll ask some questions about that later in the episode at the end. And if you have feedback, you can comment below or message me. And for messaging me, so ways you can connect, I am on social media, Ravelry and Instagram. So you can find me on Ravelry as Mindful Knitter Pod, and we do have a group. It is the Mindful Knitter Podcast group on Ravelry. We do have a thread in there right now for the magical make-along as well. And then on Instagram, I am the.mindfulknitter. There are other versions of the Mindful Knitter on Instagram. There's some other profiles. Those aren't me. Mine is the.mindfulknitter. So you can give me a follow on those, and we can connect and hang out on Instagram and Ravelry. as well as on YouTube. And my email is clairethemindfulknitter@gmail.com. All of this information, including all of the important information that we are going to cover in this episode today, will be in the description below the video. So check that out if you are wanting to get in touch with me, if you can't remember the date of the next knit night, if you want to know how to spell the yarn that I mentioned, whatever, all that's going to be linked below, or included below. I don't know how much it'll be linked, but it will be in the description below. So yes, I think that's about it. Let's get into the materials for today. So starting with, I have my notes with me. Usually I have my iPad, but it's charging, so I'm old school today. So first finished object I am wearing, I finished the test knit that I was doing for NaluKnits. It was a great test knit. I really enjoyed testing for her, and I really hope that I get to again in the future. She was great to test for. Her pattern was awesome. Yeah, she was super responsive and supportive and just kind of lovely. So I really enjoyed doing this test for her. And let me show it to you. This is her Minty Summer Tank. It was named something different originally when I was testing it, and now it's the Minty Summer Tank. So I will say for this, I knit a size up from what I would usually knit because I wanted to see if that would give me the negative ease that I was looking for. It's too big. I should have just knit my normal size and trusted that, yeah, I should have just knit my normal size because the normal size for her pattern would have fit me just fine. This one's kind of big. It was okay when I first put it on. It has now stretched out and it is too big. I don't think it's unwearable, but it's a little big. So it's very cute. So one thing about this is it has adjustable straps, which is very cool. So you can tie this to different lengths, and there's one on this side too in the back. So that's really neat. I like that there's that adjustability within the tank top. I'll stand up on my chair again to show you. I don't have a better way to show you guys garments, so I'm sorry if it's weird. I have to get so close to the camera to do it too. And ignore my pants, they're covered in Great Dane puppy. So it's got this awesome like lace detail on the bottom, which is really pretty. I really like it. Yeah, and mine turned out to be about tunic length. The way she has it written, it should hit at about the hips, about a normal like t-shirt tank top size or length. Yeah, and it's supposed to have like 4 inches of negative ease. Well, I think she had it written for like 1 to 2 inches of negative ease. This is definitely more than 4 inches of negative ease. Like, we got a lot of negative ease going on. So yeah, it does not, see, look how big this is. So I should have just knit my normal size. This is too big. This is the first time I've ever knit something that's too big for me. So that was a good lesson to learn. Trust the design. That's the lesson for me. Particularly if it's a designer that knows what they're doing. So, and I think that she does. So I loved this knit. It was very fun to do. It was simple enough that it wasn't stressful, and I could knit it in a variety of situations. Like the lace was simple enough that I didn't have to have like complete silence to concentrate. Like I could do it while watching a show or listening to an audiobook or even talking to somebody, as long as it wasn't a serious conversation. Although I guess I wouldn't normally be knitting during a serious conversation anyway. But if it was just kind of casually hanging out and I didn't have to be super, super involved, then I could knit this fine for the lace part, and definitely for the stockinette. So it's obviously loads of stockinette stitch, but it's DK weight. The pattern's written for DK weight, so it goes pretty quick. yeah, so it was simple enough to not require tons of brain power, but I guess it was still interesting. Like the lace was an interesting and satisfying one to do. The stockinette was just relaxing stockinette. And then the decreases for the top were like fun, easy decreases. And then there's I-cord, which is fun to do. I like to do I-cord. So I really liked it. I recommend this pattern. It was great. Knit your size. Don't be like Claire and knit something way too big for yourself. Maybe, does anyone have any tips on shrinking knit items that you've knit too big? Do you, because I've seen online things about washing it in hot water or putting it in the dryer. I'm a little hesitant because this bottom part, 2 of these yarns I used for the lace are non-superwash wool. They're Cordell. And then there's a cotton for one of them. And then this is a wool, cotton, linen, bamboo blend. So I don't know if I'd be able to shrink it. We'll see. We'll see. I really like it, so I'll try to figure something out. It's possible that I could make some sort of adjustment to make this a little bit smaller, and then just have the rest be a little oversized and just wear it as like a very flowy tunic. And that might actually end up being what I do. I might make some sort of adjustment to the top part so that it's, yeah, I might do that. Yeah, so I recommend it. It was a good pattern. And this yarn that I used for the main part of the top was Fibra Natura Unity Beyond in the Springtide colorway. And I will have that down below. But again, yeah, it was that blend of like wool, cotton, linen, and bamboo. And they may have had one other fiber in there. I'm not remembering exactly. I know I've talked about this in previous podcast episodes, so if you want to know more about the yarn, you can check out those. But I will have the information for like the name of it and everything and the colorway down below. So yeah, this was great. I really enjoyed it. It is too big, but that's okay. I don't really mind too much. I usually would rather something be too big than too small, because I don't really like to wear super fitted clothing. So yes, I think that's all I have to say about this. So I'll move on to the next one. I'm real excited about, you guys. Ooh, okay, I'll get it. I have so many emotions about it. So this is my Miss May MKAL shawl. So Helen Stewart had her Mystery Knit Along this summer, and this was the Miss May shawl for the Mystery Knit Along this year. It's amazing. Just telling you up front, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous shawl. And I'm real surprised that I haven't cried about it yet. I have gotten a little teary-eyed about it, but I have not cried. Is that dramatic? I don't know. I have a lot of emotions about yarn, probably because I spent about 10 to 12 years of my life knitting just like garter stitch and never used a pattern. Didn't use YouTube, didn't use tutorials, didn't use books. I just kind of like played with yarn on my own and hoped for the best. And I would see people make beautiful things, and I just was so, I don't know, jealous isn't the right word. I just didn't think that I could do it. Had lots of anxiety about it. So this past year or so, I started watching tutorials, I started using patterns, and it blows my mind. After over a decade of feeling like I could never do it, making something like this is really very meaningful and impactful for me. I've done several things in my life that I guess were hard things, but I don't know, for some reason like this hits differently. Like it is meaningful in a different way than things like education or that kind of thing for me. So yeah, this project is very meaningful to me. So if you don't want to see it because you are doing the Miss May MKAL and you are wanting to go through the pattern without any spoilers, then look away. This is your warning. Look away now because I am about to show it. All right, I am showing it. What do you think? How amazing is this? It's pretty big. It is wider than my wingspan by just a little bit. I look like I'm just a talking head. This is amazing. Yeah, it blocked out huge, but it is lace, so that makes sense. Yeah, here it is in all of its glory. I'll post pictures on Instagram too soon. Yeah, it's a crescent-shaped shawl. And it's knit top down. It's knit top down. And it is a thing of beauty. It is a thing of absolute beauty. My alpaca is shifted. There we go. Yeah, it's so soft. It's so soft and squishy. I almost am at a loss for words showing it to you guys, honestly. This project meant a lot to me. The fact that I started it, the fact that I finished it, the fact that it actually worked, and there are mistakes. Oh, there are mistakes in this. But can you tell? No, because the mistakes don't freaking matter. It's a gorgeous piece of art. If it was full of mistakes, then or if it didn't have mistakes in it, then I can't even imagine that. That would be unnatural. So, not to say that if you've ever made something without a mistake, you are unnatural. But I don't have a problem with the mistakes in this. It doesn't detract at all. It's gorgeous. And I guess I say that to just, for everybody who does get a little caught up on the mistakes in their knitting, which all of us probably do to a certain extent. They're fine. It's a hand knit product, and imperfections does not equal ugly. Nothing in nature is perfect, and nature is beautiful. No person is perfect, and people are beautiful. So yeah, I just am completely in awe of this. Helen Stewart is a genius. She writes amazing patterns. So thank you, Helen Stewart, for writing this pattern and for hosting that MKAL. Yeah, just amazing. I'll tell you a little bit about the yarn. So the gray is a baby alpaca by Juniper Moon Farms. It's the Harriot Fine. It's baby alpaca, and this is I want to say it's the Silverstone colorway. I want to say it's the Silverstone colorway. It will be in the description down below if you want to check it out if you're curious. This is a great gray. That's like a great gray. It's, I would say, right in the middle. It's not like a cool or a warm gray. It's a great gray. This one is a Hobby Lobby yarn. It is Plush. The colorway is Plush Blush. It is the hand-dyed authentic hand-dyed fingering by Yarn Bee at Hobby Lobby. It's 100% Superwash Merino, and it is Plush Blush. These are both from Nanette Wake Studio. She has a shop on Etsy, and these are one-of-a-kind colorways, so they're not available anymore. But Yeah, I almost did like a creamy white, like a warm white for this gray section instead, but when I looked at the yarns together, I just kept gravitating towards the gray with them because it felt like it kind of like grounded the colors, and I am glad that I went with that. I think it does kind of ground it. You want to see it worn? Let's look at it worn. So I love it like this. I think this is beautiful. I would totally wear this to work or out or forever until the end of time, just everywhere. Yeah, I think this is super wearable like this. But then I also love it as like a shawl too. It's because it's a crescent shape. It stays very nicely where it's supposed to. It lays very comfortably, just like so. It has a great length for the tails so that they kind of like tuck, but you can pull it closed very nicely. It's great in the back. It comes down to the middle of the back, the small of the back, so it comes down a good ways. Yeah, so this is a work of art. It is beautiful beyond description. It is soft. I'm in love with it. I'm completely 100% in love with it. I can't say enough good things about it. And again, I'm almost lost for words when talking about it because it just still has me kind of in awe. I can't believe I made this. Like, I can't believe I made this. Yeah, and Helen Stewart wrote a beautiful, beautiful pattern. I like the way she writes her patterns. She does it in kind of the percentage format. So like she'll kind of like has each line within a table. So you kind of check off each row as you go. And I think every 5%, like she shows like the percentage of the project that you've completed thus far, which is really fun. I think it's great for motivation. Yeah, it's a thing of beauty and I love it. And you are probably going to see it more on the podcast because I never want to take it off. I have it hanging up in my closet right now because I just want to see it every day. How beautiful. I'll put it away so that if you weren't looking for spoilers, then you can look back now. It is safe. Yeah, I love this shawl so much. I think those are the important things to say about it. Yeah, I think that's the important thing to say about it. I knit both of these things with my high sharps, my interchangeables. Yep, so I did have quite a bit of yarn left over from this pattern. She recommends 400-gram skeins of fingering weight or 300-gram skeins of fingering weight for the pattern. If you want to do a solid color, then she recommends the 3. But you can also stash bust or whatever you'd like to do with it. A lot of people used like minis or scraps. They were beautiful. A lot of people did like an ombre or a fade. So lots of different options for this shawl. They're all gorgeous, completely gorgeous. I loved seeing Instagram full of these shawls all summer. Whew, just, it's amazing. It is amazing. Yeah, but I did have quite a bit of yarn left over. For all of the sections, I did not use the yardage. I did not use the, I guess, weight that she had said it would take. So like, for instance, the gold stripes, she had said for that color, I think it's like color D. For color D, we needed 50 grams. I had like 6-7 grams left over from my 50-gram skein. So I did not use as much yarn as was required, I guess, which was nice because I didn't run out of yarn. So yeah, just heads up if you want to knit this pattern and you're looking at it and you're wondering about that. But also, I feel like I tend to use less yarn in my projects just in general than what it says it's gonna require. And they might, you know, build in some wiggle room. A lot of people might have leftovers. But I have noticed that that is true, that I always have leftovers from anything I knit. I never use as much as they say it's gonna take, but they might, again, they might build that into their patterns so that people don't run out of yarn, which is wise. So my last finished object is two things. This is some hand spun from Tour de Fleece. So I'll just show it to you guys real quick. This is a Falkland that I did chain ply. So this is a 3-ply. It's about a worsted weight, heavy DK worsted weight. And this is from Wound Up Fibers. The colorway is, I think this colorway was called Around Town. All of the information for this is in my Tour de Fleece vlogs. So yeah, I love this guy though. I think he's really beautiful. Yeah, and the Falkland was super fun to spin. It was so easy. And the prep on the fiber was great. Wound Up Fibers does great prep, apparently. And then this was Under the Sea. This is not a super neat skein. I need to redo this. This was done kind of in a hurry to get it away from the dogs. But this is called Under the Sea. This is 100% merino, like 99% merino. It does have a little bit of this like blue sparkle in it that you can see. And this was really fun. I got this at Studio South Pensacola, one of my new very favorite yarn shops. So this was fun. This I spun up for my mom because she requested that. And either she will be knitting with it or crocheting with it, or she will be asking me to knit or crochet with it for her. So we'll see, I guess. But those are all of my finished objects for this week. Let's see what else I have got for you. So let's do works in progress next. This is in my Cavallini & Co. bag. This is their mushroom print. You can get this on Amazon and lots of like boutiques and things carry this brand as well. This is a pretty big name brand. Some art supply stores also carry it. So this is a pair of socks. Yeah, so I'm super happy with these socks. I just wanted something very simple and that didn't require much brain power to just have as my travel knitting, my car knitting, my purse knitting. So this is Malabrigo sock in the Aniversario colorway. Yeah, color 005 Aniversario. And if you're curious, it's 440 yards and 100 grams, 100% superwash merino. And this is it in its little ball. So cute. This stuff's soft, and I don't know if it shows up well on camera, but it does have a nice little sheen to it. So it's like mildly shiny. It doesn't really knit up shiny. You can still kind of see a little bit of a sheen. But this is how it's knitting up. Almost got this one sock done. I'm on the decreases for the toe. And you can see I'm knitting these on DPNs. These are my my Knit Picks DPNs, the Caspian wood DPNs. These are US 1s, and then I have one US 1.5 that I'm using. But yeah, I just wanted some vanilla, like very vanilla socks. I didn't want to do any color changes. I didn't want to do anything but knit a vanilla sock. And I wanted to do a very variegated vanilla sock because I keep seeing them on podcasts and I haven't knit a super variegated sock in a bit. So this is what's happening. Yeah, so I've got the heel flap and gusset, 1x1 ribbed cuff. These are coming along nicely. And again, it's super, super soft. I really like Malabrigo sock a lot. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of the ball. I would definitely have leftovers from this because it takes about 50 grams to get a pair of socks for me. This might be closer to 60 because I did a longer leg than I normally do. But yeah, I will definitely have leftovers. So it could go into a scrappy project, maybe scrappy socks, because I think I might do some scrappy socks soon. I have never done a pair of scrappy socks and I would really like to. And I think that that is on the radar because none of my sock yarns are super appealing to me right now. These are, right now, obviously I'm knitting them, but yeah, none of the other ones are like calling me with their siren call. So I'm wondering if maybe some scrappy socks, maybe now is the time. I've knit enough pairs of socks that I have a collection of scraps. I'm just untangling this as I'm talking because the yarn's gotten all kerfluffled. So that might be the next pair of socks besides my golden snitch socks that I'll be knitting for the magical make along. I think I untangled that. Yeah, okay, I got it. Yep, so that is these. I don't think there's anything else to really say about them. Obviously I'm knitting them top down because I'm at toe decreases and I have a sock. So yes, I started that a little over a week ago. Yeah, these are going very slowly just because they're not a main project. These are just the project that I keep in my purse so that if I have to wait in my car or if I am making phone calls or if I'm waiting in the doctor's office or, you know, whatever, this is what I work on. So yeah, these will just get done whenever they get done and then I will start a new purse pair of socks. Those are fun. My next work in progress is another shawl. This is another mystery knit along from this summer. This is the Florida Road Trip Mystery Knit Along hosted by Really Clear Designs. So much fun. I've talked about it before. The Facebook group for this knit along is amazing. Everybody is so kind and enthusiastic and they post great artistic pictures of their work. It's so much fun. So this is the second, I guess, panel. I'm stretching my neck. It's a V-shaped shawl and we're knitting it into, like, I guess the legs of the V first, and then we'll do what I'm guessing is the middle portion. We don't know yet, it's a mystery. So we knit the first leg of the V and this is the second leg of the V, and then this weekend we are getting our first clue of the, what I am assuming is the middle connecting portion. So we have only got 2 clues left. So in just a couple podcast episodes, this will be a finished object, which is exciting. So if you are wanting to knit that shawl and you don't want spoilers, look away now. This is the Florida Road Trip Mystery Knit Along by Really Clear Designs. Look away if you don't want a spoiler. It's happening. Now it's happening. Okay, so here is my second panel. I showed it to you guys last time, so I'll just kind of take you through these real quick. This is where I was last time as I was still knitting this lace. Then I added these. The pattern did not call for beads, but a lot of us added beads because the garter wasn't showing up great on the stockinette for a lot of us. So the beads added a little bit extra like to it so that it will show up a little bit better. I'm interested to see how that'll block. And then I just finished this portion last night, and this morning I started this top portion here. And so, yeah, once I get this little top portion done, it'll be it for this leg of the V, and it'll be just waiting until this weekend, this Saturday, for the next clue to come out, which is fun. The yarn is by Big Sky Yarn, Blue Sky Yarn. I don't have the tag label with me right now. It's either Blue Sky or Big Sky. Again, it's in the description down below. And the colorways are, this darker one is Summer Storm. This variegated one is, you can see the variegation a little bit better here. That is Toes in the Sand. That's an exclusive colorway dyed for Dixie Knits in Pensacola. The yarn shop Dixie Knits. These two, I never know which one is which because I took the ball band off real early on and then couldn't remember which one they are. But when I first talk about this, is it like 8 episodes ago now? Maybe not 8. Maybe it's like 5 or so episodes ago. Whenever I showed you guys this kit, that's when I tell you all of the colorway names for each of them. So one of these is Cool Beans and one of these is St. Lucia, but I don't know which is which. I kind of want to say that this one is Cool Beans and this one is St. Lucia, but I'm not positive. I'm sorry, that's not super helpful. But yeah, that's this one. It's safe to look again if you were looking away. This yarn, it has been great to work with. It's a very like kind of sturdy, kind of hard working feeling kind of yarn. It's not like super soft and fluffy, but it's kind of nice because so much of the yarn that I do knit with is super soft. So it's just a nice change. It's not rough or rustic at all. But if you're looking for something super soft and fluffy, this is not the one. Although, who knows what it'll be like when it blocks. It might puff up. The needles that I'm using for this are from the Mindfulness collection. The Mindful collection. Oh my gosh, words. The Mindful collection from Knitter's Pride. And I'm really liking these needles a lot. When I was looking at needle sets at the beginning, like when I was first looking at needle sets, like a year or two ago, when I first started getting really, really into knitting after the decade of just knitting in my black hole, I was looking at, you know, sets of interchangeables and that sort of thing. And the Mindful collection really stuck out to me a lot more, largely because of the colors and the aesthetic. But I ended up going for the Hiya Sharps because they were on major sale and I'd heard a lot of good things about them and I liked the idea of having super pointy tips. And I love my Hayas. I use them all of the time for everything, almost everything. So I would not trade my Hayas. I love them. But I needed some extra, I guess I didn't need needles for this knit along, but I kind of figured that since I would be knitting on this for so long, I think it started in May and it doesn't end until like towards the end of August. So that's like 4 months. I knew that my needles were going to be tied up for 4 months. I didn't want to use my Hiya interchangeables for that because what if I wanted those needles for something else in the meantime? So I just went ahead and got 2 sets of needles, and the pattern requires a larger size needle and then a smaller size needle. So I just got those from the Mindful collection because I figured that's a good way to try the needles out. And I won't have my Hayas tied up and unavailable I really liked them a lot. The tips are less pointy than the Hayahayas, but they are still pointy enough. They're very smooth. The texture on the needle itself is not super, super like shiny. It has like a matte finish that feels and sounds really satisfying when I'm knitting with it. Like I can feel that matte. It's not super, it's smooth. Like my yarn doesn't snag. It's a smooth finish, but it is not as smooth as like a shiny like chrome finish would be. So it's not like a slick kind of texture. It has like a slight matted texture when you have one needle on the other. So that's very satisfying to me when I'm knitting and I feel this needle sliding across each other. And when I hear that like little sound, it sounds different. I've really liked knitting with these a lot, and they're very comfortable to knit with. The points are great. There was a little bit of snag at the join between the needle and the cable, but my husband just took his Dremel and filed that down. So there's not a snag there anymore. I've really liked the Mindful collection needles. The only thing I would say is that they do have that like steel cable that is not super flexible. So unless you have like the right length, that cable is a little bit in the way. It's not super bendy, but it's not as uncomfortable as like the super cheap ones off of Amazon that I used to have, that I spent like $10 for a set of like 20. Those were less comfortable and snagged, and you know, had a whole bunch of other things. They're fine for backups or to slide a project onto instead of waste yarn, but yeah, these are superior to those. I've really liked the Mindful collection from Knitter's Pride, and I would love to have a full set. Yeah, I would really love to have a full set. I like the idea of having a full set of the interchangeables. But I've got my high hair sharps, so I just don't feel like I should be buying another one right now. But yeah, I'd love to have a full set of the Mindful collection. I think they're great needles, and they fit my knitting style very well. So that is all to share about that one. I think it's been a great mystery knit along. It's been really fun. Oh, and I didn't say that if you're not familiar with their road trip series, each like panel or section within the shawl is a different location. So they're taking us through Florida, and each little section is a different city or a different like feature in a city in Florida. I love that the first one that I did was Pensacola. That was perfect for me. Yeah, so they had a lot of cities and things in there, but yeah, the Pensacola, it cracked me up. It makes sense, like Pensacola is in, you know, the top. It's at the top of Florida, so it makes sense that we would start at the top and work our way down, and Pensacola is an awesome city, so it should be included in the road trip, in my humble opinion. Anyway, that was ironic to me, but I love it. The Pensacola panel is my favorite just because I'm biased. But I love them all. Some of them I really, really like. Next, okay. I feel like this is a chatty one today. I haven't had a super long chatty podcast episode in a while. And actually, this is an acquisition. So I have a project in this acquisition. This is a new project bag. This is the larger size. I think she says that it's 5 to 7 skeins, which would be, I think is accurate. This is from Anomalous Mind. Yes? Yeah. Anomalous Mind. And it's a little scrunched just because I've had it like on the floor all scrunched up, but it came very, very pretty and non-wrinkled. She, I think, recently updated the way that she does her bags. This is a little more structured than the bags that I've gotten from her in the past. Like it stays open very nicely and like sits delightfully. It has this great strap. It's just a white interior. But I love this fabric. I thought it was so pretty. It's so pretty and happy. And I got two. I'll show you the other one because my other work in progress is in that one. But I got two because one, I liked both these fabrics a whole lot. But also I don't really have big project bags. I've been putting my larger projects in tote bags, which works okay for the most part. But if I am taking it with me places, I like to have something that zips so that I can just kind of throw it and not worry that my project is just gonna go everywhere. And especially with the puppy, I like something that zips so that he doesn't snick his snoot in and try to get my yarn. So this project is for my niece, who's turning 4 this month. I mentioned this in the last episode that I was going to try to get this done for her. I'm not convinced I'm going to get this done by her birthday, but I am attempting it. I might have to give it to her for Christmas, which is fine because, again, she's turning 4. She doesn't probably remember that she asked me for this, but she asked me for a flower shirt. So this is what is happening. I have made these 2 flowers. These are just little flower granny squares that are crocheted, as you can see. And I think they're real darn cute. It's going to take several of these to make up a whole shirt, but my idea is to just crochet up a whole bunch of granny squares and seam them together into a toddler-sized shirt shape. I think that'll work fine. And she can try it on, and if it doesn't fit well, it'll be pretty easy to adjust because it's crocheted blocks seamed together, so I can add or take away pretty easily if it doesn't fit her very well. For this, I'm just using like leftover scraps, which seems like a good way to do a granny square project, honestly. This was my first granny square project, which is fun. I will link the video tutorial for these granny squares in the description below. So if you're interested in those, feel free to check that out. These are super soft, so I really hope that she enjoys it. These both are Hobby Lobby brand Yarn Bee in the Must Be Merino. And these are scraps from a previous project, so I do not remember the name for these 2 colors, but they don't really have colors that look very similar. So if you go to Hobby Lobby, you'll be able to pick these 2 colors out. They don't really have any that look similar to them. It's a mustardy yellow, a mustardy golden yellow, and then a just straight up teal. It's like a greenish teal. I don't know if it's showing up more blue on camera or not, but it is like a teal green, not a teal blue. This is a complete mystery. It's very soft. I think that it's some sort of mercerized cotton acrylic blend. It's super soft. This was something that somebody gave me for free. Yeah, it was someone's scraps. One of my mom's friends years ago just gave it to me when she gave me a whole bag of like extra scraps and yarn that she wasn't going to use. And then these are leftovers from also Hobby Lobby yarn, Yarn Bee. This is from the, I talk about it in a previous episode. These are the scraps from the baby blanket that I knit for one of my other nieces. It's like a it's not really, it's like a worsted weight, I would say. And it's something wheel. It's one of their like big cakes. It's 200 grams. It's like a big cake, and it is like a gradient yarn. It's like a self-striping, not really self-striping. It is like, it's a gradient. And I can't remember what the name of that type of yarn is. It will be in the description down below though, because I'll get the information for you. And this was the Gimme Cobbler colorway. I don't know why I remember the colorway name and nothing else about it. But yeah, I'll have that information down below for you. And if it's possible, if I can find the information for these colorways, I'll put that in the description down below too. But yeah, so these are the two that I have. They go fairly quickly and they're fun. I do like to crochet. I should crochet more, but I want to knit all the time. So it's fun to throw in a crochet project every once in a while because I really do like to crochet. And it can be very satisfying because it goes so fast. But yeah, so this is my niece's flowered shirt project in that one. You'll notice that I have so many different new projects this week. Last time I remember I talked to you guys about how I had so many projects that had been going on all summer and I was getting very done with them. Not that I didn't enjoy the projects or the patterns, or it's just that I had the same ones for so long. I think that's one of the reasons why I do like to only knit like 3-ish at a time, is I like to finish them so that I can do new ones. After a while, I don't get bored of the patterns. I just want new things. I like new. I constantly need new stimuli in my life. So yeah, I cleared off basically all of them. The only ones that are still going are my Flora Days shawl, which I don't have to show you guys today because I haven't made any progress on it. I've said it before, I am saying it again now. It is a very long-term project. My only goal is to have it done before Christmas. It was my Advent yarn, my Advent kit yarn, and I started it on Christmas Day, and I just want to get it done before, well, I want to get it done before December 1st so that I can start my new Advent project. So that's my only real goal for that one. It's not one that I feel stressed about working on. Sometimes I get on a kick and I really want to work on it, and then I get a big chunk done and then I put it away for a month or two again. So I don't have that to show you guys today, but I might next time, who knows? So yeah, I've got all of these new projects going on and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I like the socks. I like the cute flowery top that I'm knitting, or that I'm crocheting for her. And then my fourth project my fourth project is in this new bag as well. Yes, it is a Harry Potter project bag. This is also Anomalous Mind. Yep. And this is also the larger size bag from their shop. So this is precious. I've been wanting this bag for a long time, and I finally got it because I'm hosting a magical make-along. I needed a Harry Potter bag. No, the make-along is not Harry Potter themed. Yes, I love Harry Potter, so I've got Harry Potter theme going along for myself for the make-along, but nobody else has to. And then I'll show you this other acquisition, and these are my acquisitions to show you guys today. These two project bags and this pin that I got, which is so cute. I will have the maker linked below or listed below because I saved the tag and then I didn't bring it down here with me. Which was, again, unhelpful. I got almost everything gathered, so I'm very pleased with myself that I didn't forget anything else, but I did forget to bring the tag because I saved it so that I'd be able to show it to you, and then I don't have it. But this is super cute. I don't know if it shows up super great on camera, but it says Professor Trelawney's Tea of the Month Club. Isn't that cute? And it's just this beautiful, like, lilac-y or lavendery purple background with the tea and the crystal ball. I think it's so cute. I've been wanting that pin for a long time too. So I got those two things for myself as make-along Gubbins. It's also lined in white. From my experience, all of the bags I've gotten from Anomalous Mind have been lined in white, which is nice because it's very light and easy to see your project. So, oh, I do have a tag. It's Pins for All Boutique. Oh my goodness, I'm more prepared than I thought. Amazing. I don't know if it's going to focus on that. But yeah, Pins for All Boutique on Etsy. Look at that. I am prepared. So in here, I have my Weasley sweater. So this is the Weasley sweater pattern that is in the Knitting Magic, the official Harry Potter knitting pattern book. It's called Knitting Magic, and it's pretty awesome. This is my Weasley sweater so far. I had cast this on during knit night last week, and I didn't love it. So I frogged it. First I swatched, and then I frogged it. I swatched holding the yarn double because I remembered as I was knitting the original one that when I bought this yarn, because the yarn that I bought, so what's the yarn that I bought? The yarn that I bought is Ella Ray Eco Tweed. This is the organically grown Merino Tweed blend. It is 328 yards and 100 grams. The pattern calls for Aran weight yarn. It says worsted or Aran. This is not worsted or Aran weight yarn. And I realized, and it's 75% merino, 25% polyamide. I realized after I'd already started knitting with it, or I remembered that when I bought the yarn, my plan was, I'm gonna hold this double. Completely forgot about that while I was casting it on, and you know, when I was planning the project a couple days before, and then when I cast it on. And so I was just knitting it as a single, and I just sized up, like I was knitting the next size up in the pattern, and I was knitting with like a smaller needle. And yeah, I just didn't like the fabric. It was very thin. Technically it fit. I tried it on with my barber cord. Technically it fit, but it wasn't going to fit the way I wanted it to. I wanted it to be kind of like oversized and slouchy. So frogged it. I'm holding the yarn double now, and I'm pretty excited about it. I also decided to add a different yarn. It's a weird noise. Oh, I think one of my hamsters just did something. I've also got 2 hamsters. They are in separate enclosures, and they're both very antisocial, and they hate people. And well, Darcy is neutral about people, but Crema hates people. And I think one of them woke up and started shifting something heavy in their enclosure. So anyway, I am holding this double. I'm holding the Ella Ray. Oh, and this is, I should tell you the colorway. This is the Lapis Lazuli colorway. So Ella Ray Eco Tweed in Lapis Lazuli. Here's a ball of it. You can see the little tweedy bits. It's got that beautiful like pop of little bright blue, and then the white. I think it's a beautiful tweed. I love this yarn so much. I'd seen it almost a year ago and I really wanted it, but I didn't get it at that time because I didn't know what I would knit with it. And then when I saw the Weasley sweater, I was like, that's it. So I got it. I'm holding it double with, ironically, another Ella Ray yarn. I didn't realize that these were both Ella Ray yarns actually until earlier today. I got this one quite a while ago at Tuesday morning. It was in their discount clearance bin. Yeah, these are both Ella Ray yarns. I kind of think it's hilarious. I just realized that today, and I've had both of these yarns for months, and whatever. Even when I like put them together and I was holding them double and I'd been knitting with them for like a couple days, like I still hadn't realized it until, you know, just now. So this is also Ella Ray. This is the DK Superwash Merino. It's 100% Superwash Merino. This is 260 yards and 100 grams. So, oh, and it's Riverwood Heather. It's really soft and nice. It's almost like this wedge. It reminds me of a Wedgwood blue. I don't know if the Wedgwood color's showing up on camera. But yeah, it makes me think of like Wedgwood blue. And you can kind of see the sheen on it. I really like this yarn a lot. I got it for like $5 at Tuesday morning. And it's really lovely. I have this ball and another skein. So I'm holding it double for the ribbing at the bottom and the ribbing at the cuffs, and I probably will hold it double for the ribbing at the neck as well. And then I carried it up a little bit too, just for fun. So it's similar. It's very similar in color. It's very similar. This has a little bit more of a green. It's more of a green blue. This is more like a straight up blue. And then of course this has more of a sheen, but I think they play very nicely together. And I think that adds just a little bit of extra dimension to the ribbing and up a little bit. So it makes it just a little bit more interesting for me to knit, and I think it'll make it a little bit more interesting to wear as well. And I like the idea of holding yarn double or having like mixed yarns for a Weasley sweater, because the Weasleys did not have a lot of money, and I imagine that when Mrs. Weasley was knitting sweaters for her kids, she kind of used whatever yarn she could get. So yeah, I really like the idea. And I think it's knitting up nicely. This is great. This is knitting up exactly the way that I wanted it to for my Weasley sweater. This is going to be a little oversized, even significantly oversized, but I'm fine with that. I wanted it to be slouchy and comfy and just feel like Mrs. Weasley was giving me a hug. Yeah, and it's knitting up super fast too, since I'm holding it double. And I actually went up a needle size from what the pattern suggested, partially because this is like holding this double, it's, yeah, I'd say it's like an Aran, but it's like a heavy Aran, probably, I would say. So I could go up a needle size and it be, yeah, well, I went up a needle size because I liked the fabric, basically. When I was knitting with the recommended needle size, the fabric felt a little too dense. This makes it feel like it's got a little bit more movement. It's a little, it's got a little bit more, oh, what would I call it? Movement. It's less dense. So I like the fabric, and I think it'll bloom a little bit when it's blocked, which will be nice. And I think it's going to fit great. I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is going to be a great Weasley sweater. I'm happy with the tweed. I'm happy with the yarn held double. I'm happy with the shiny merino. Yeah, I think this will be great. It's knitting up quick-ish. It's a sweater, so it's knitting up about as quick as a sweater can. And I'm really liking it, and I'm loving it in my Harry Potter bag. I was watching Harry Potter earlier while I was knitting on this, which was very fun. So yeah, those are all of my works in progress. Pretty sure? Yes. And my acquisitions. So moving into knit chat, we'll go ahead and talk about the magical make along. And if you were just here to see the projects, then thank you for coming. I'm so glad that you could hang out with me for a while. And I'll see you next time. But if you want to hang around for some knit chat, then hang around. So magical make along, I've got 2 videos out for that. One is the information video and the other one is the welcome video. It started on July 24th. So we are underway. We've got a finished object already posted in the thread on Ravelry, which is really fun. And we have some stuff posted in the Instagram tag as well. The tag on Instagram is a magical mal, M-A-L, on Instagram. So if you are participating in this make along, tag your stuff on Instagram. It's fun to see that thread. And it doesn't have to be just pictures of your project. It could be anything magical. I just kind of want a tag full of magical stuff for me to look at because it's fun. And it's fun to see what you guys are up to. And yeah, and you know how magic is all around us. So yes, that is going on right now. We'll have another video for that on September 1st, which is when Hogwarts students go back to school. I might do another video before that though, we'll see, because I was thinking earlier today that I had enough that I could share with you guys that I could just make another video too. So we'll see if that happens, but there definitely will be one on September 1st. So yeah, join us for the magical make-along. Any yarn related craft goes, knitting, crocheting, weaving, spinning, I'm gonna say felting because felting seems fun too. Yeah, and just anything magical. It doesn't have to be Harry Potter. It could be a gnome or a dragon or a mushroom or a fairy. So somebody is doing, I think, is it birch trees? I think it's a birch tree pattern, and she shared a little bit about the lore of birch trees, which was really cool. So colorways also count, magical colorways. It doesn't have to be just like a magical pattern. So yeah, join us. It's really fun. I'm having so much fun with it so far, and I want to see more projects. We've got prizes for it as well. We have a potential for 6 prizes. It does depend a little bit on how many people are participating. If I've got 3 people participating in this make along, then everybody gets a prize. But I won't give 6 prizes if there are 3 people, because I'll just hold back those prizes for another make along or a giveaway or something. But yeah, we have a potential for 6 prizes. So yeah, that's fun. Come join us. Come win a prize. Okay, and then if you want to donate prizes to the make along, then that is very welcome as well, because right now I am providing 6 prizes. One of the prizes was donated by a lovely viewer a bit ago. She donated several skeins of Hand-spun to use as various prizes for things, so that is one of them, but the rest are being supplied by me, so I'm happy to accept donations. So yeah, that is the make along that we have going on right now. That's real fun, so yay. And my Weasley sweater is for the make along. I am not eligible for prizes because I am the host, but yeah, my Weasley sweater is eligible, or is part of the make along. And then I've got some snitch socks, golden snitch socks I'm going to be knitting up soon too for that. Next knit night is on August the 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to join us on Zoom for knit night, then please do. You could just message me on Instagram, email, Ravelry. I will get you the Zoom link for the knit night. And then a little bit about Tour de Fleece. I was just going to chat with you guys about Tour de Fleece a little bit. It was really fun. I really liked it. I talk about it more in the Tour de Fleece vlogs, so if you're interested in checking those out, you can head over to the vlog videos and yeah, listen to my ranting about spinning yarn and Tour de Fleece and some other just like day-to-day life things that were going on during Tour de Fleece. I really enjoyed it a lot, and it really reignited my love for spinning, and now I just want to spin stuff all the time. Would anybody be interested in an Etsy shop for Hand-spun? because I've thought of that. I feel like my desire to spin yarn exceeds the amount of hand spun yarn that I can personally use. So I've thought about maybe if maybe opening up an Etsy shop and just putting hand spun on there as it is available from what I've been spinning. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to put some feelers out there and see if that's even anything people might be interested in. I mean, I could always just do it and see what happens, but I thought I would ask too, because it doesn't hurt to ask. So is that something any of you guys would be interested in? If I had an Etsy shop for my hand spun, would you be interested in checking that out? Yeah, I know I've started showing my hand spun on the podcast recently. I haven't shown all of my hand spun on the podcast. I have plenty that I've spun up that I've never shown. I didn't do a vlog for it or anything. But I kind of like, it's a finished object. It's part of my craft and my art. So I just started showing them in my finished objects. So hopefully that's okay. And you guys think that that's interesting. If not, I guess you can skip over that part. Yeah, so would you be interested in hearing if I had a hand-spun Etsy shop? That's one of my questions for you guys today. Tour de Fleece was awesome and really reignited my love of hand-spun or hand spinning. So I think I'm going to try using my spindle again, my drop spindle. Right now I just use my Ashford Kiwi 3, which I love. I got it for Christmas this year and it's amazing. I started spinning at Christmas this year. Yeah, I do love to spin. So yeah, that's really, I think, all I had to share about Tour de Fleece. And I am still following the hashtag on Instagram and the Facebook group because I love seeing everybody's hand spun yarn. And I'm thinking about maybe doing some hand spinning courses perhaps to try to learn more techniques and become more skilled, because I'd like to do things like beehives, and I don't know, I'd like to get better at hand spinning, I think, because I really, really enjoy it. So yes, that's Tour de Fleece. A funny thing that happens, a funny knitting story, or at least I think it's funny. It's very short. I had a pretty small procedure done on my foot last week, and it's a small enough procedure I didn't have to be under anesthesia. They just did like a localized numbing, like they injected a numbing agent, kind of like you would at the dentist. So that was honestly by far the worst part of the procedure because he had to stab my wound with a needle, and it was awful, and he had to do it more than once. But the actual procedure I was numbed up for, which was fine. So what was funny to me was I was sitting in the podiatrist's office having a procedure done on my foot while knitting a sock, which I thought was very ironic and hilarious. My podiatrist was not as amused as I was. First I asked him before we started, I was like, do you mind if I like knit while we do this? That it's just, would make the process a little more pleasant for me. Like, I don't really care being cut into. I've had surgeries. I've had a lot of surgeries. So I don't really care. Like, surgeries don't bother me. Procedures don't bother me. Like, cut into me and do what you need to do. Like, please fix the problem. It makes it more pleasant if you can knit at the same time. So he was like, sure. And I get my knitting out and I'm knitting. And as he's like actively like cutting into me and like digging into my flesh, I'm just like chatting with him. And I'm like, I'm knitting a sock right now. And he was like, are you now? And I was like, yes. And you're a podiatrist and you're operating on my foot at this very moment while I knit a sock that I won't be able to wear for a few weeks because of this procedure, but I am knitting a sock. And he was just like looking at me like I was a crazy person. And I was really amused by the whole situation. So hopefully you guys are amused by that as well. That was one of the socks. That was the sock I was knitting on that I showed you guys, the Aniversario socks. Yeah. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I wanted somebody to appreciate that besides me. And then another thing to, I don't know, that I just was going to mention because it was a fun knitting related thing that happened over the last 2 weeks. I had a meeting with a colleague, I guess a week ago or so, and it was a very good meeting. We talked for hours. And one of the things that we were talking about is she wanted to ask me about any research I had done into basically the fiber arts, but specifically knitting as it pertains to health and medicine. I haven't really talked about my profession or my doctorate a lot, my doctoral program. I don't have the doctorate yet. I'm doing my dissertation. But it is in, it's in the field of medicine. So I was talking to her about, yes, I have researched, I have not conducted research on, but I have reviewed the literature on knitting and the fiber arts and, various health benefits, specifically mental health benefits, because that's my area of expertise. And we had this conversation about it. One of my specializations professionally is mindfulness and meditation. That is one of the big reasons why I started this channel in the way that I did, why I called it the Mindful Knitter. And again, I have some questions for you guys at the end about that. So anyway, we were just talking about that, and it was very, very cool to talk to somebody about those things because I'm very passionate about integrative medicine, holistic medicine, holistic health, and the fiber arts. And within my career, I've been trying to think of like how I can combine those things. And in my work, I have started incorporating some fiber arts into my work, my job, which has been very cool, and I'm getting good responses from that. I can talk about that more if you guys would be interested. You can let me know. But it was cool to talk to someone about it because I know people within I know lots of people in the medical field. They are my colleagues, and a lot of them are my family. And I know people who are knitters now, but I don't know tons of people who are who combine those things, and I don't know tons of people in academia who are interested in those things and combining those things. And it was a cool conversation. We got to nerd out about holistic health and knitting. And it was very cool. And one of the things that we were talking about particularly was maybe teaming up and designing a seminar on holistic health and healing through creativity, specifically the fiber arts. And then maybe even eventually creating like a curriculum for like a course, like a doctoral level course. I would like to teach at the graduate level. I'd like to teach doctoral students at some point. So if I could teach that course, it'd be like my dream. So I'm not an expert knitter by any stretch. I almost feel like I'm still like a beginner knitter because I just in this past year started doing things like patterns and stuff. But when it comes to holistic health, that's kind of my jam. And if I can combine creativity and the arts and craft and yarn with the healing arts, that would be amazing. That would be so amazing. So I don't know. I just kind of wanted to share that. I don't know if anyone's even interested in hearing that kind of thing, but that's something that I have, been talking to her about a bit and could be, I don't know, on the horizon. And I'm really, really excited about it. I'm so excited about it. So yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing that has been happening over the last couple weeks. And I wanted to share it with you because it makes me very happy and excited, and it makes my heart feel very full. So, and that, I'll just go ahead and do my question before I talk about some books. So my question for you guys is around the mindfulness and the channel. And I don't have a perfect way to ask the question, so I'll just kind of try to do my best. So in the past, I did a mindfulness segment in each podcast episode at the end where I either talked about mindfulness and yarn, or I kind of guided a mindfulness practice. And then I did a couple separate videos that were like guided knitting meditations, guided yarn meditation type things. And I don't really know how you guys feel about that stuff. I haven't really done anything recently. I was thinking I would like to kind of start doing it again. The reason I stopped doing it was I wasn't really sure about how I had been doing it. I didn't know how I felt about it. And so I just kind of took a step back from it for a little bit to just have fun with the yarn side of things, and figured once I felt like I was in a good place to come back to it, I'd come back to it. And I think I'm in a good place to come back to it now. I'm curious about feedback you guys might have. Do you like having a mindfulness segment in the podcast episodes? Do you like having separate videos that have like a guided practice? Do you like having the videos like the knitting in nature video where I just have like the natural sounds of nature and just footage of nature and me knitting in nature? I like that kind of stuff. I like to just turn it on and knit while having nature sounds and nature videography, and feel like I'm knitting with somebody in the woods. But do you guys like that kind of stuff? Yeah, do you want to have more talks about mindfulness? Do you want me to talk about mindfulness more? Do you want me to talk about mindfulness as it relates to knitting or fiber or the crafts or health or, whatever? Do you want it to be separate videos? Do you want it to be in the podcast? Like, yeah, like any kind of thoughts or feedback you guys have on that, because a lot of my channel I just do for fun because I like it, and whoever likes it as well, huzzah. But when it comes to sharing the mindfulness stuff, that's something that's pretty close to my heart, in that I feel a lot of I'm very personally interested in doing good, I guess, and having a positive impact in the world before I die. And one of those ways is, professionally, I teach mindfulness skills and I teach meditation and I do all that kind of stuff. And so it's important to me that if I am trying to do that and trying to share that with people and trying to have a positive impact on the world, that I'm doing that effectively. And, I don't know everything and I can't read people's minds. So if I am putting my energy and, if I'm putting my energy into trying to provide something that I am hoping will benefit other people, I want to do that in the most beneficial way that I can, or, try to do it as beneficially as I can. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's why I would like feedback on it. What would you guys find helpful? What do you think you would find helpful? And yeah, I will try to do it in a helpful way. Like I said, most of my channel is just me having fun and just sharing fun yarn stuff because I don't have tons of people I can share fun yarn stuff with, and the internet gets to share with me. So I just kind of create content for my own enjoyment, basically, and I hope that others enjoy it too. But it's not a professional channel. I'm not selling things. I'm not sponsored by anybody. So, like, my views are my views. Like, I'm not out here trying to get more views or trying to get more subscribers. I love it when people view it, and I love it when people subscribe because it makes me feel like I'm making friends and that I have a community. But my goal is not to, like, this is not my job, even though I would love it if yarn was my job. Yeah, my job and my, like, a purpose in life is to make the world a better place. So, and hopefully I can do that by sharing my love of yarn, but hopefully also I can do it by, you know, sharing mindfulness. So I feel like that got a little, like, ranty. I hope it made sense. Yeah, so the question is, how would you like mindfulness to be incorporated into the channel? What do you think would be helpful for you? What are you interested in? Yeah, so that's that question. I hope that wasn't too ranty, and I hope it made sense. Okay, so last thing is just books that I have read recently that I just wanted to share with other people. Because I don't have a book club. I think it'd be real fun to have a book club. Anybody want to have a book club? You guys want to have a knitting and book club? That'd be a thing. That'd be nice. I would enjoy that. So the two books that I have read recently, I guess I've read a couple other books besides these, but these are the ones that felt noteworthy. One was Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. Alice Hoffman wrote Practical Magic, which is, I think, a movie. Or is it a TV show? I think it's a movie. So anyway, that's a wildly popular book. And so while I was doing the magical make-along, I was thinking that I would read and watch more magical things just to keep the magic alive, just for fun. And I'd never read anything by Alice Hoffman, so I thought I would give it a try. And I liked it. Magic Lessons was good. It was sad. It was not a super happy book. Not that it was super, super dark, or it wasn't super dark. It wasn't super gruesome or graphic. It didn't have like a terrible tragic ending. None of those things, but it wasn't a happy book. So heads up, if you're looking for like a happy, super light kind of read, this isn't it. Basically, it follows the story of a woman who, it starts with her birth, and then it takes you through her adulthood, her becoming a mother, and basically what she learns about love and how love works. And it's very like European magic. I think that she's from England, ends up in America. And so they've got some Salem witch trial stuff in there, because it's definitely like Puritan era America. And yeah, it's interesting. And it was well written. It was a good book. And it was fun, but it wasn't happy. So I liked it. I did like it a lot, and it was really fun to read while I was knitting. I say read, listen to. I was listening to the audiobook because I do a lot of my books on audiobook because I want to knit at the same time. If I can get away with an audiobook, I will, because knitting and spinning. And then the other book I wanted to mention is The Binding by Bridget Collins. This was a very interesting book. It was an interesting book. I liked it, and I think I might read it again at some point in the future. It was different than what I anticipated. When I was reading the description of it, also the cover's beautiful. It's like floral, and I'm a sucker for a pretty cover. yeah, like basically books are magic, and basically books are magic. I don't want to give away too much, but you can kind of imagine, like, you know, the binding, you know, the name of it. You know, you bind a book, and so there is magic in binding. I don't think all books, no, not all books are magical, but you can do magic with books in this book. And so it follows the story of a guy. The main character is a farmer, and he's like a farmer's son. He's like a young adult, and it turns into a romance, which is in I'm not giving away spoilers, like that is in the descriptions that you can read of the books. The description I read of the book did not mention that. So I wasn't anticipating any kind of romance in this book. I was anticipating it to just be like a magical adventure kind of book. It was mostly a romance. And this also was not a like happy light read. It was also sad. Not the whole time. There were definitely like moments of like, I would laugh out loud. It's very much a, it has a lot of different elements of a good book, in my opinion. It had lots of ups and downs and twists and turns. Good character development, I think. I feel like the author really describes the characters and gets into their minds enough that you form an emotional attachment to them. So yeah, it was very good. It is a romance, and just to let you know, it is a male romance. Yeah, as I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is a good story. And then I was continuing to read it, and I was like, oh, these characters are interesting. And then I was like, I think these guys are falling in love. I'm pretty sure these guys are going to be in love soon. So, that was funny. I'm almost concerned that this is a Black Widow. I can't tell. I'm going to keep my eye on that and see if that needs to go at the end of the podcast, because I can't tell. But it is very Black Widow shaped. Oh, we'll see. That spider might have to go. I don't mind spiders, but I was bitten by a Black Widow as a child, and that was a terrible experience. I can tell that story at some point if anyone's interested. But Black Widows and I are not friends. Most spiders I'm fine with, but that was a terrible experience. I can't tell. I'm going to have to look at it more closely when we're done. Okay, so yeah, that's basically, oh, and the setting of that story is it's sort of like, what would it be? What time period it would be? Like there are still like peasants and things, but there are guns, because I think that they're like, I think it's like flint, what do you call it? Flintlock pistols, or I don't know. They have, I think that guns have been invented, but I don't think there are cars. I think people are still in carriages. So that kind of time period, and it's England. Yeah, so it was good. It was really good. I liked it a lot. Yeah, not a light, fluffy, happy story. Again, nothing super, super tragic happens. It is not, I would say that if you are, there are a couple of points where I had to put it down and go do something happy for a bit, because something really like really sad and mildly violent happened. So say mildly, kind of violent happened. So if you are kind of triggered or squeamish in those kinds of areas, then like fair warning, maybe this isn't the book for you. There are only a couple of those instances. Most of the book is very, you know, and it's not like gory, violent stuff all over the place, but it was good. I liked it. Again, it had a bit of everything, a lot of like happy and funny, and it was good. I feel like I'm rambling now because I'm distracted by the spider. So yeah, those are the books that I have read in the last couple weeks that I wanted to mention to you guys. And I think that that's probably it for this podcast, because I'm not going to be able to think of anything else while this spider is over here and I can't tell if it's a black widow or not. So I'm going to check that out. All the information that is important is in the description below. If you have any questions or you want to reach out to me about anything, please feel free to message me or email me, and leave a comment if you would like to. So thanks for joining me. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys, as I always do, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.